Trump complains again about NATO, while the Carney Liberals try to offer clarity on any role for Canada after 19 days of war. This is Now You Know. I'm Rob Snow.
Deeper than the headlines.
The answers you need to know.
This is Now You Know with Rob Snow on News Radio.
U.S. President Donald Trump wants help in the Strait of Hormuz, and so far he's been rebuffed. And he's not happy about it.
Well, no, I just think that it's not good for a partnership when they say what you're doing is a great thing, but we're not going to help. You know, they say what you did is a great thing, but we're not going to help.
That was Donald Trump in the Oval Office yesterday when he was asked if there would be consequences for NATO countries who have so far refused his request to help reopen and secure the Strait of Hormuz, the key shipping route in the Middle East. He was also asked what that refusal could mean for the future of the NATO alliance. He said he didn't have anything currently in mind.
Well, I'm disappointed in NATO that we spend trillions of dollars on NATO. Think of it, trillions over the years, many trillions of dollars. It's one of the reasons we have deficits and we help other countries. And when they don't help us, I mean, it's certainly something that we should think about. I don't need Congress for that decision. As you probably know, I can make that decision myself. I'd work with some very smart people. And I'd always deal with Congress anyway, but I don't need Congress for that decision. But you know, when you say rethink, I have nothing currently in mind, but I will say that I'm not exactly thrilled when we help them with Ukraine. Look, Ukraine would have been over in one day if we didn't help. Frankly, Ukraine would have been over in the first day. They had the best equipment in the world. It was our equipment, given by Sleepy Joe Biden. No charge, no charge. Hundreds of billions of dollars of the best equipment in the world. No charge. I will say that I'm not happy about it.
The U.S. president is also dealing with a major resignation from his administration. His head of counterintelligence, Joe Kent, quit yesterday, saying the United States was pressured into this war by Israel. When asked about that, Trump suggested his decision on Iran saved the world from nuclear war.
If I didn't terminate Obama's horrible deal that he made, the Iran nuclear deal, you would have had a nuclear war 4 years ago. You would have had nuclear holocaust, and you would have had it again if we didn't bomb the site. So when somebody is working with us that says they didn't think Iran was a threat, we don't want those people because, and there are some people, I guess I would say that, but they're not smart people or they're not savvy people. Iran was a tremendous threat. And virtually every NATO nation, and this is the thing, if they told me it wasn't a threat, and therefore they don't want to help, but when they say it was a threat, and it was a major threat, every one of them, I think every one of them, I don't know of one that said they're not a threat, but when they say it was a threat, but we're not going to help, I think they're very foolish.
Here in this country, the script remains the same from top officials in the Carney government. The Minister of National Defense, David McGuinty, continues to say there's no role for Canada in this war.
Canada was not consulted before this conflict began. Canada has not participated in this conflict, and Canada has no intention of doing so. Clearly, beyond that, the Prime Minister was also clear yesterday in indicating it is time now for basically an opportunity to pursue dialogue and to look for hopefully a cessation of the hostilities. We have members of the CAF in the region. They are not involved in the prosecution of this war. I am not in a position to reveal any more information than that for security reasons. It's very important that we first of all, focus on Canadians in the region who want to leave that region. And secondly, it's very important for me as Minister of Defense to make sure that we protect, that we keep our forces out of harm's way. They are not engaged in the prosecution of this war.
McGinty would go on to say that it was clear from the start that Canada wouldn't be part of this war, but he also said, we'll see, when asked if Canada might help other countries in the Gulf region.
In terms of Canada's position, we've looked at this very carefully. We're following it hour by hour. It's a very volatile situation. And so we're very, very careful in terms of taking steps in any direction. But for us from the beginning, it was clear that joining this in terms of the prosecution of the war offensively was not going to occur. And I said yesterday as well that if any neighboring states might require assistance, we'll see.
When asked about the chances of Canada helping to secure and reopen the Strait of Hormuz, Canada's Minister of Foreign Affairs said the Canadian government's position is that international shipping lanes shouldn't be weaponized.
And that includes the Strait of Hormuz. Our current conversation with Gulf countries rests on how we can continue to support them, especially in the face of indiscriminate attacks, retaliatory in nature by Iran.
Whatever Canada's role in this war might be, the federal government is arming up. Announcement today that the federal government will spend $1.4 billion to increase domestic production of ammunition. 2 major contracts have been signed, one with General Dynamics, a U.S. company that's for its Quebec operations, and another with IMT Precision that's located in Ingersoll, Ontario. I'm Rob Snow. This is Now You Know. This is News Radio.
No question goes unasked or unanswered.
Now You Know with Rob Snow returns on News Radio.
Let's wait and see for the Bank of Canada. No move on interest rates, but what about next month? And how is the Canadian economy doing? Sal Guatieri is Senior Economist and Director at BMO Capital Markets. Nice to hear from you again. Welcome back.
Great. Thanks, Rob.
So no decision up or down from the Bank of Canada holding interest rates steady. Why?
Well, for the most part, there's just too many things up in the air right now to make a decision on interest rates. I think the Bank of Canada and Governor Macklem made it abundantly clear that this fog of war, both the trade war and now the Iran conflict, basically rules out any policy moves in either direction for quite some time. There's just too many unknowns to make an informed policy decision. Now, the bank did push back against rate hike chatter, given the weaker than expected economy, the soft exports and employment growth, and the fact that excess supply in the economy is really driven core inflation measures closer to the 2% target. And of course, now we have this new downside growth threat stemming from the Iran conflicts. You could spin a scenario where higher energy prices might sustain upward pressure on inflation, but that's a pretty low probability of event given the weak economic backdrop. So I know money markets are still pricing in above even odds, but quarter-point rate increase by year end. But we would clearly take the under on that bet and just see policy rates holding at 2.25%, not just in April, but right through this year and perhaps even through next year, at least until we get some clarity on both the Iran war and on the USMCA review later this year.
So you don't expect any interest rate hikes for a year and a half, maybe longer?
That's correct, Rob. We just don't see the Bank of Canada wanting to upset the apple cart, so to speak. I think the bank's pretty comfortable with where interest rates are right now. They're low enough to provide some ongoing support to the economy, given all the headwinds we're facing right now and just given how weak the economy is. But they're not so low as to drive inflation higher, even in an environment where we will be seeing higher gasoline and other energy costs, at least in the near future. So I think the bank is very comfortable. The bar to to adjust interest rates, especially upwards, we believe, is really high. Because it's not just all the uncertainty tied to the Iran war now, but it's uncertainty tied to tariffs and a possible bad outcome, the USMCA review. I mean, if the U.S. Ultimately decides to walk away from that free trade agreement, Canada's exporters and businesses could be in a difficult position, especially if tariffs go up significantly. So we just don't think the Bank of Canada will want to do anything that would risk a worse economic environment until some of these clouds overhanging our businesses and our economy have dissipated. And that will take a while. We probably won't get a resolution of the USMCA review even this year. That may just extend into next year. And until we do, we think the Bank of Canada will just keep policy rates where they are right now.
Okay. What did you think of the unemployment report that was out on Friday? Because it wasn't very good.
Oh, it's just awful. It was, there was no way to sugarcoat that one. And normally for 1 month's worth of data, you could always dismiss it as noise, volatility, statistical anomalies. But, I mean, this is 2 months in a row now. And yes, in January, there was the Ontario snowstorms reducing jobs. But February, normal bad winter weather, but to cause a reduction in employment of 84,000, no, and it was very broad-based across provinces and across industries. So, no, Canadian businesses, much like in the U.S., have really hit the pause button on hiring. They don't seem to be laying off in big numbers, but they're just not hiring. Now, the unemployment rate hasn't gone up a lot, but that's simply reflecting the fact that the immigration restrictions have really put the brakes on our population growth and labor force growth, as we saw this morning with Canada's population now shrinking in the past year for the first time on record. So that's helping to contain the upward pressure on the unemployment rate. But, the last jobs report for February was just awful. We're hoping for some rebound in March, or else we will become even more worried about the health of Canada's economy.
Here's a question for you, Sal. The oil price is up almost 50% in a month.
Mm-hmm.
The Canadian dollar, which used to trade very closely in line with the oil price, has barely moved in a month. It's virtually where it was a month ago. It's 73 cents US. Why is that?
Well, the reason is the higher energy prices clearly will help the energy producing regions, so Alberta, Saskatchewan, Newfoundland, and Labrador may actually come out ahead to some extent, but the rest of Canada, especially central Canada, will be hit fairly hard by these higher energy prices, gasoline, home heating costs. And remember, energy costs feed into pretty well every other price, every other product, and even services that we buy, because it has such a large impact on transportation costs, for example. So we will see a big spike in inflation in coming months, even if energy prices just stay where they are right now for the next month or so. So that will ultimately weaken Canada's economy. We have downgraded our view on Canada's economy by about a 0.25 percentage point this year, taking into consideration this energy price shock and other negatives stemming from the Iran war, such as weakness in equity markets and confidence. So what that means is we believe the Bank of Canada simply cannot raise interest rates in this environment. And so there's really no reason for the Canadian dollar to rally despite the rise in energy prices. If our economy was fundamentally healthier, if we were not facing tariffs and trade policy uncertainty and on a stronger footing, I think then the Bank of Canada might be in some position to raise rates. And we could see the Canadian dollar rally as it normally would when energy prices are going up. But we're not in that situation now. Our economy is weak, could weaken further, And so there's very little reason for the Canadian dollar to strengthen in this environment.
Okay. Thank you for your time again today, Sal Guatieri. Nice to hear from you.
Take care, Rob.
From BMO Capital Markets, Sal Guatieri today. Again, no move from the Bank of Canada. He doesn't expect interest rates at the central bank level to be touched at all this year and most of next year as well. This is News Radio.
Critical thinking is not dead.
Now you know with Rob Snow.
Returns on News Radio.
Well, there's just been no relief at all from ever climbing gas prices. No change overnight, though, across Nova Scotia. Prices are still around $1.68 to $1.69 in most places across Nova Scotia. In the National Capital Region, the Ottawa area, they are even higher than that. More than $1.70, around $1.71, with another hike expected tomorrow. In Kitchener, prices are around $1.62 a liter and expected to increase a few more cents a liter tomorrow. Considerable jump in gas prices across the Calgary area. According to 660 News Radio, higher by around 10 cents a liter across Calgary. Regular unleaded, $1.68. It is very unusual that gas prices would be almost as expensive in Calgary as they are in Nova Scotia. I mean, it's almost unheard of. And another increase for drivers in Vancouver. Regular unleaded across the Vancouver area now, $2.06 a liter. $2.06 a liter, and expected to go up again tomorrow. Diesel prices also on the move and also moving in the same direction. Goodness gracious, in Nova Scotia, diesel, $2.11 a liter. Diesel across the GTA, $2.14 a liter. About $1.89 a liter in Calgary for diesel. Out in Vancouver, diesel prices $2.23 a liter and could go up to $2.30 a liter by tomorrow. That is a big problem for the economy. Diesel so crucial in transportation. As for the oil price today, I mean, it's been all over the place. Let me take a look. Oil futures have traded as low today as $91 US a barrel and as high as $98 a barrel. And right now are higher by $1.47. This is for West Texas, just shy of $97 US a barrel. So that's another jump today, about 1.5% or so. Mentioned the Bank of Canada made no move with interest rates, just given all the uncertainty in the economy. And there's no move expected for the rest of the year, according to the Economist we just interviewed from the Bank of Montreal. Now, as for mortgage rates, they're tracking bond yields in the United States. And because those rates have been moving up since the war started, mortgage rates have also been tracking higher. So the posted 5-year fixed mortgage rates at most of the big banks are now around 4.39%. Some are even higher, 4.59%. 5-year variables about 40 points lower, 3.95%. Maybe a broker can do better for you. I'm Rob Snow. We're going to talk politics, Canadian politics, right after the news. Their Newsday panel. This is News Radio.
Now you know with Rob Snow continues on News Radio.
It's time for our Wednesday Newsday political panel as we welcome back Susan Smith, principal at Bluesky Strategy Group. Welcome back, Sue.
Thanks,
great to hear from you. And
Nice
Alex
to have
Chreston, Vice President, Crestview Strategies in the center of the universe, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Alex Chreston. Welcome back, Alex.
Thanks for having me.
Good to hear from you. Well, Sue, it's a great time to be a liberal these days. The Liberals have risen to new heights in the polls. A majority government appears to be within its reach. Almost 1 year after the election, why do the Liberals still have so much momentum?
Yeah, well, the Liberals are in a good spot because I think that Canadians trust the Prime Minister. I think they trust his competence to run the economy. He came in with on paper, a really good resume and credentials. And what he's done is walk the talk in the last year. He's shown himself to be someone that can make tough decisions, that he's not someone who's driven by ideology. He's driven by practicality, and that he has both the depth of understanding. He's a smart guy. He understands the complexities of not only the domestic economy, but the global economy and global trade. And he has the relationships to be able to do the kinds of deals that Canada needs to pivot in the face of Trump. I think the other thing with Carney is, we've seen he's no pushover, but at the same time, he's not a hothead. With Trump, you have to have patience, and it's more of at least maybe a chess game on one side, though unpredictable on the other side. And I think Carney's shown that he can handle that. And people see that that's what it is, and they don't see that same level of skill, competence, or depth on the other side of the aisle. So that's why they continue to support the Liberals. The final thing is he's not hyper-partisan. And most Canadians, I don't think, are hyper-partisan. They just want someone kind of that hangs out around the middle of the spectrum who'll do what's right for the country, and I think that's what they trust him to do.
All right. I mean, let's look at these polling results. I mean, Nanos, 48 for the Liberals, 31 for the Conservatives. Liberals up by 17. Abacus, 46 for the Liberals, 35 for the Conservatives. Liberals up by 11. Liaison, Liberals 45, Conservatives 31, Liberals up by 14. Main Street, Liberals up by 10. Leger, Liberals up by 14. Why do you think this is the case right now, Alex Chreston?
Well, I think for a lot of the same reasons Susan mentioned, Mark Carney is the kind of guy who gives people confidence. This is why I think Stephen Harper liked him as the head of the Bank of Canada, why he got hired to be the head of the Bank of England, and why people have wanted him around a boardroom throughout his career, because he makes people feel calm. And in a crisis, in a panic situation, that's what people want. And that when the job description of Prime Minister abruptly changed at the beginning of last year, he fit the new description perfectly. People were nervous, they were scared, and he comes in and makes people feel calm. And we'll talk about it later, but that was enough to get certainly older voters on side with him, as well as traditional New Democrats who have left that party.
Okay, let's look ahead a little bit. If the Liberals do capture a majority government within the next month with these 3 by-elections that are called, coupled with all these floor crossers, how long do you think that government lasts? It'll be a majority government, but that doesn't necessarily mean it goes the distance. Does it go the distance? I mean, what do you think, Sue?
Well, I hope they end up in majority territory. I think the Toronto seats look good. The Terrebonne seat in Quebec, has always been a bloc seat, or it's often been a bloc seat. So that's a tough one. That's not a done deal. It'll be interesting to see if Alexandre Bouleris from the NDP leaves too and causes another by-election, because that seat was very attached to him. So there could be another opportunity. Canadians aren't in the mood for an election right now, a general election. They just had one last year. But I think if those gaps in numbers continue to persist, i.e. the Liberals continue to grow the distance, or that distance holds over Pierre Poilievre in the polls, you could see that happen before the end of the what would be a 4 or 5 year, or a 4-year election cycle with a fixed date. You could see that. But for the moment, I think the Prime Minister is focused on governing. He's got there's lots of irons in the fire in terms of what we need to do as a country. I might disagree a little bit with Alex. I don't think the job description for Prime Minister changed. I think we always need a Prime Minister who can handle the domestic economy, has deep understanding and relationships globally. What changed was Trump coming in and taking a sledgehammer to Canada, and people decided that the best person with those qualities to do it was, in fact, Mark Carney. But so I think we're going to have stability in government for a while. But I don't know if this one will go the whole distance without an election in the next couple of years, if those numbers continue to hold and the Trump volatility continues to be a key factor.
What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, I think what happened that changed this time last year when everything happened with Donald Trump and the changing trade situation was that people went from wanting, I think, pretty wholesale change in domestic policy to wanting to play it safe on domestic policy in order to focus on our trade and international relations. And I think given that mood, although sometimes a slim majority is hard to hold on to if you get some character in your caucus who wants to grandstand, I don't think that there's a lot of appetite for that. And I think I said last time I was on here that I expect that Mark Carney will get the majority without an election, and that majority will go to the distance.
It'll go the distance. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Well, honeymoons never last forever. What could spoil Canadians and their love affair with Mark Carney and the Liberals right now? What are the troubles on the horizon? I'm Rob Snow. We're talking politics midweek here. This is News Radio.
Now you know with Rob Snow continues on News Radio.
We're talking politics on a Wednesday. It's our Wednesday Newsday panel with Susan Smith from Bluesky Strategy Group. Alex Chreston is Vice President, Crestview Strategies. It's going to be 18 degrees in Calgary today, Sue. 18 degrees.
It was minus 16 this morning with the wind, so you guys can gloat. Please enjoy that beautiful something? Weather. I envy you.
Like, we're not getting anything like that in the Ottawa area, Sue. Like, yesterday was like Stormageddon. Brutal.
Oh, yeah.
What about in the center of the universe? What's the weather like in Toronto? Nothing like 18 degrees, Alex.
It's March weather. March is people like spring, and one of my maybe most unpopular opinions, and I'll share with you now, is that I hate spring. Spring is the most overrated season. It's nothing but mud and garbage, dog feces, and cigarette butts. It is a terrible, stinking season. And
it's dirty dog season
right
in our house.
Corner.
Yeah, it is dirty dog season, that's for sure. All right. Maybe Calgary sounds like a nice place for a honeymoon right about now, and the Liberals are certainly enjoying a political honeymoon, but that never lasts forever. Alex, what could spoil this Carney love affair that the country seems to have?
Look, I think people are willing to give the Prime Minister a huge benefit of the doubt for the time being, and I think that's going to continue for a while. I think the only thing that would really spoil that is if he were to be caught in some kind of a situation where he was seen to be dishonest. I think people right now, any kind of a scandal that brings down a politician is something that happens outside of the realm of expectations. So you might think a certain politician is really smart, so if they do something that seems really stupid, they get punished for it. You might think a politician is really honest, so if they are caught somehow cheating or doing something bad, then that is going to spoil the narrative on their brand. Same with Mark Carney. People think he's smart and they think he's honest. So I think they will allow him a certain amount of leeway on taking risks, but I don't think that they would allow him much leeway on honesty,
ethics,
integrity.
Right, ethics stuff. Ethics stuff. Okay, interesting. Sue, what do you think? What are the risks? What are the risks right now for the Liberals?
I don't think there's any integrity issues with Mark Carney. For the Liberals, I mean, they've been around. The government, or the brand, the party has been around, though it is refreshed certainly under Prime Minister Carney. But you made me laugh at your intro there. I used to live in Calgary. It wasn't quite close to the honeymoon, but the marriage definitely didn't last. And you may have some Calgary listeners who are laughing at this because they knew me then. There's a reason, this is a reason it's called a honeymoon. I'll refocus. No, there's a reason it's called a honeymoon. And I think all politicians, regardless of who they are, at some point people get tired. But at the moment, that's not a factor for Carney. I think we talked about his competence at the beginning, the geopolitical situation, what's happening domestically, and the need for, an adult in the room, an experienced adult in the room. And Canadians are smart people, and they understand that big projects take time. They understand you can't build a house overnight. They understand you can't build a pipeline overnight. And the Prime Minister is trying to create the scenario with the Major Projects Office and other things to get big projects moving forward more quickly so that the private sector can make the decisions to put the shovels in the ground. And I think what Canadians are going to want to see soon is some evidence of, and not tomorrow, because they get it, it takes time, and they get it that it takes the companies and the people who make these decisions and these big investment decisions to execute them. But in the next couple of years, they're going to want to see some evidence of it, and that's maybe these projects happening because they're employing more people, or there's more housing being built in their communities, so there are more construction workers that have work, or there's more choice and there's more supply on the market. I think at the moment, though, people are comfortable and trusting for the direction that the Prime Minister is taking the country. They see the evidence of the networks and the relationships and the decisions that he's making. So for now, the honeymoon persists.
Okay. Look, when we come back, none of us are new Democrats on this panel, but I would like your take on what we're hearing from the perceived frontrunner. He's raised more than $1 million, Avi Lewis. He's certainly stealing some material from the recently elected mayor of New York City, Zohran Mamdani, the darling of the left, things like public grocery stores. We should have a government-run internet utility, a public internet utility. He wants big wealth taxes. He doesn't want pipelines. He doesn't think that the government should be spending big-time money on the military. Is there an audience, a big audience, for that in Canada to the extent it revives this struggling NDP? Well, let's talk about that when we come back. This is News Radio.
There is no question Rob won't get answered.
Now you know with Rob Snow continues
on News Radio.
Okay, let's talk about the NDP right now. Sue Smith is with us from Bluesky, Alex Chreston from Crestview Strategies. So the voting is underway for the NDP leadership. The winner be revealed in about 11 days from now. Avi Lewis raised $1 million. And there was a report this week that Heather McPherson and Rob Ashton, who have not raised $1 million, they can't come to an agreement on, say, down ballot support, which I kind of found interesting. Maybe that happens organically anyway, but we'll see what happens with it. So to me, Avi Lewis has the edge here. Now, he's borrowed a lot of policies from Mamdani in New York City. Popular policies enough to become things like public grocery stores, rent control, wealth taxes, stuff like that. I just wonder if there's a broad enough audience for that pitch across Canada when you throw in things like, I don't think we should be boosting military spending. And no, I don't think we need pipelines. What do you think, Sue?
Broad enough audience, I think, is lacking for it. I think Avi Lewis probably has some supporters. There are definitely folks that lean that far left. But I said at the top of the show, Canadians are practical and pragmatic, and they're not hyper-partisan. And I think this will come to bite Mr. Lewis if he ends up as the leader of the party, because I don't think what he's presenting is enough to inspire confidence of, hundreds of thousands or millions of people to get behind the NDP. They want to bring back workers. but he's anti-big corporation. Well, the auto workers and the oil workers and, whether you're a ship worker or you manufacture farm equipment, your paycheck is signed by a big corporation. Corporations employ people, and small businesses work with corporations. And so how the economy works isn't quite the reality of how the economy works is different than I think the reality that Mr. Lewis is trying to present. So I think he will have a limited number of people that are behind him.
I just think some of his policies, I think I agree with you, Sue, will find traction with a certain segment of the population, like public grocery stores and wealth taxes. Right now, though, I think he's out of step with mainstream public opinion on not increasing military spending or emphasizing that or developing natural. I think he's totally off the mark there and way out to lunch. What do you think, Alex?
More breaking news on the Rob Snow Show today. The NDP are out of touch with most Canadians. This is
even more out of touch. Maybe even more out of touch.
I would say, look, I understand the calculus. I understand what they're thinking. It's not uncommon for the New Democrats to take ideas from sort of the far left of the Democratic Party in the United States. And it seems that the hottest new ideas from the American left are the oldest ideas of Karl Marx, and they've failed people for the last 100 years. And I do expect they'll fail the New Democrats for the next 100 years. But I do understand the calculation. They're trying to save the furniture. They're trying to bring back the base. They've bled workers to the Conservatives. They've bled the sort of downtown socialists to the Liberals. They've lost everything, and they're trying to mean something to people again, and are going after these issues.
And I would just add one more thing. He's trying to win a leadership right now. He's not trying to win an election right now. Yeah. So, okay. Thank you to the both of you.
Thanks.
All the best.
Thanks.
First day of spring is Friday, Alex. If you want to head somewhere else, first day of spring is Friday. Talkback is coming up next. Lots to talk about today with your help on Talkback. This is News Radio.
It's time to talk back
On Now You Know with Rob Snow.
Call now.
And have your say.
1-833-668-2577.
Welcome to Talkback. It's 2 hours of debate and discussion on the big issues of the day. It's kind of a two-parter today, mostly about the war again. We want to pick up where we left off yesterday on a possible role for Canada in helping secure and reopen the Strait of Hormuz. We were having some problems with our 1-833 phone line yesterday. That's fixed now. So we couldn't take calls for the first 45 minutes of Talkback yesterday, but once that issue was resolved, there was certainly a lot of interest in that topic. If you didn't get a chance to weigh in on that yesterday, we would like to hear from you today. As I said, our call-in line is back up and running, and it's 1-833-668-2577. 1-833-668-2577. So again, we're asking more or less the same question we asked yesterday as part one today. Would you support Canada getting involved with international allies in helping secure the Strait of Hormuz to get goods like energy, like fertilizer flowing through that vital waterway? There was a lot of opinion on that yesterday. Everything from we should stay out of it completely, stay as far away as possible, to we should do whatever we can to help. Maybe it would be good for the global economy. Maybe it would be good in the long run for our relationship with the United States. It might be looked upon as doing the Trump administration a favor. That is still very much a live issue. The script from the top people in the Carney government is Canada's not part of this war, has no plans to be part of this war. In other words, Canadian forces are not going to be serving alongside American and Israeli forces in any kind of combat role in Iran. It's off the table. But at the same time, when you listen closely, they are still saying talks have been happening about the Strait of Hormuz and potential to help neighboring countries. This is the language that the Minister of National Defense of this country used just yesterday, neighboring countries. It's clear the United States President, Donald Trump, wants other countries to help the U.S. get traffic moving again through that strait. He's not happy that other countries haven't stepped up. He's been very critical of NATO in recent days, as recently as yesterday. So on that question, where do you stand? What do you think Canada should do? Specifically with the Strait of Hormuz, if there's some international effort, if that comes together at some point, should Canada be part of it? Again, 1-833-668-2577, 1-833-668-2577, picking up where we left off yesterday. The second part of Talkback today has more to do with U.S. politics. The future of Trump, the future of MAGA. This decision by Donald Trump to launch a war against Iran, does this sink Trump? Do you think this is the issue that could lead to the undoing of Trump and MAGA? Is this the issue that spells defeat for Donald Trump and MAGA? What do you think? What's your sense of it? I mean, we're inundated with American news like 24/7. I know a lot of you are following it. There are a lot of MAGA loyalists who don't like that Donald Trump started this war. He lost a member of his administration over this war. There are people in the MAGA-friendly media, high-profile Trump supporters on social media who don't like his decision at all. Like this was the president who promised to keep America out of so-called forever wars. And as well, I mean, this means higher costs for everyday Americans who may have supported Donald Trump. But just like Canadians, like who wants to pay more for gas or groceries? And many Americans don't see the point of this war. And the midterms are coming up in November. It's been in the news that some Republicans, even hardcore MAGA Republicans, are worried this war is going to cost them support in the midterms. What do you think? What does it mean for Trump's future, for the future of the MAGA movement, this decision to go to war with Iran? Could it be the beginning of the end for Trump and MAGA? 1-833-668-2577. And have your say on that particular angle of the whole story. So again, it's kind of a two-parter today. The first is, do you see any role for Canada in helping to secure the Strait of Hormuz? It hasn't been entirely ruled out by some of the most senior people in the Carney government. What do you think? Talked about that yesterday. We just want to pick up where we left off yesterday. And this decision by Trump to go to war with Iran, what does it mean for Trump's future, the future of his MAGA movement? Could it spell the undoing of Trump and MAGA? All the lines are open right now. We tested them. They're fully functioning. We would appreciate it if you join our discussion today and offer your opinion. Again, 1-833-668-2577. If you've never called before, just mention that, and we'll make your call a priority. I'm Rob Snow. This is Now You Know. This is Talkback on News Radio.
Have something on your mind you want everyone to know?
Call now.
Hello.
1-833-668-2577.
It's Talkback on Now You Know with Rob Snow.
So picking up where we left off yesterday, support or oppose Canada being part of an international mission to secure the Strait of Hormuz? Love to know where you stand on that on Talkback today. And do you think this decision by Donald Trump to launch this war against Iran will hurt him politically? 1-833-668-2577. Ronan is up first today in Kitchener, Ontario. Hello, Ronan.
Good afternoon, Rob.
Yeah, very good to hear from you. What's your opinion?
Well, I don't see what role we could possibly have to play other than a diplomatic role. If anybody understands what the Strait of Hormuz is, I mean, there is no rational discourse to be had about controlling it by military force from the air and the water. It is not possible. It just tactically, strategically is not possible. On your second point, I believe that every week, maybe every day that this unprovoked conflict goes on, puts another coffin into President Trump's political coffin. Very simple. I don't see any military role in there to open that up without massive, massive casualties to the attackers.
Okay, why do you say that? You sound more familiar with that area than I would be. Why do you say that?
Well, I've spent over 30 years of my life in military and paramilitary deployment. The strait itself is 33 kilometers wide at its narrow point. We have 2 lanes of traffic. Give me 3.2 kilometers going in, 3.2 kilometers wide going out, separated by about the same dead zone with no traffic. If you look at a map of Iran, you will note that the entire western side of the country, almost entire left side, western side of the country is mountainous. The security, the military infrastructure along that side is layered, 1, 2, 3, 4 layers deep, with drones flying in, from the eastern side of the country, from the northeastern side of the country. If you take a look at the 2 battle groups, the U.S. battle groups that are there, you don't see carriers that are, 100, 200, 300, 400 kilometers within that shoreline, because they would be almost indefensible against continuous attack from the mainland. They've moved back to, I'm not sure, somewhere between 800 to 1,000 kilometers. How would we militarily force that as an opening for oil tankers moving at a snail's pace? It's just simply not possible. It's not possible physically to be done. It's not.
All right. Thank you, Roland. Yep. Great insight there. Joe in Nova Scotia hasn't stopped Donald Trump from asking. I will say this. Yeah. Hi, Joe. Yeah. Go ahead, Joe.
The only way I can see Canada getting involved with this is if they get together with, say, France, England, Germany, we say ceasefire right now, and kind of give Donald a chance to tuck his tail a little bit. There's going to be lots of communication. Obviously, I don't think Iran can sustain this either. But yeah, I mean, this affects all of us, right? I mean, we're all looking at all of our prices going up. So, I mean, if the only role I see with Canada playing in this is that we get together with, other nations and say, listen, ceasefire right now, and there has to be communication before that happens. And as I understand it, there's mines in the water now. So, I mean, like the threat, even if we're trying to do peacekeeping or, negotiations, I'm just not sure how that would take place, but that's the only solution I can, or reason I can see for Canada getting involved with this. Cause, I mean, it's just, it's a pointless war. So.
All right. Do you think this is the midterm year in the United States, elections in November? What do you think this means for MAGA and Trump?
Yeah, I think he's done enough to piss enough of his, members, I guess, off, and in
like
terms
his own
of MAGA,
supporters, like his base.
Yeah,
they talk about the base, right?
Yeah, like the I'm not sure if he was a senator or whatever, but this guy that I don't know quit yesterday. That's showing some signs, right? And I think he was not the Minister of War, but intelligence or something like that. So
counterintelligence. He was appointed by Trump to that position.
Yeah.
He didn't have a elected office, but he was a political appointee. Yeah, and he quit.
Yeah. So I mean, that's I mean, if that's just showing a ripple in the I guess in
the base.
In the culture, that is MAGA. So, I mean, I like that's in terms of Canada participating, that's the only way. And I mean, it has to be, there has to be communication, and that's it. So, anyway, thanks for taking
You're
my
kind
call.
of like the previous caller. Our only participation should be diplomatic. What do you think, everyone? 1-833-668-2577. We're just getting started on Talkback today. This is News Radio.
Have something on your mind you want everyone to know?
Call now.
Hello.
1-833-668-2577.
It's Talkback on Now You Know with Rob Snow.
Sam in Lunenburg is up next on Talkback. Hi, Sam. What's your opinion on the topic today?
My opinion is that Canada should not get involved. I don't think, bringing the price of oil down 15 or 20 cents is worth a single Canadian life. So I think that we should totally stay out of it, especially when you put it into the perspective of that Canada could absolutely be an energy independent country. For Canadians to go and lose their lives just for the economic argument, I think is ridiculous.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely. We have the ability to achieve energy independence, and sustainably and environmentally healthy way. And do I think Trump has lost enough of his base to?
Is this the beginning of the end? Could this sink Trump and MAGA? What do you think? This decision to go to war?
Well, it's interesting. It's definitely turned off a portion of his base. The first blow, I think, to his popularity was definitely the handling and the continued way he is handling the Epstein files. This is another large blow to the MAGA base. But a lot of MAGA, you still see MAGA pundits and MAGA influencers still scrambling to defend him. So it's interesting because he said himself that he could, walk in downtown New York and and shoot someone in the face and the people would still love him. And, he was absolutely right, but we'll see. I don't know if he's done enough. It's hard to say if he could do enough, because I truly believe that he could shoot somebody in the head and he still wouldn't lose a big portion of his base, but we shall see.
Okay. Thank you, Sam in Lunenburg. Who is up next? Steve, I believe, in Calgary. Hello, Steve. Hi, Steve. No, Steve? No? Okay, Steve. Wakey, wakey, Steve. Wakey, wakey. Rockwood, Ontario. BC up next. Rockwood, Ontario. Hello, BC.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, hi there. What's your opinion?
I really don't see the MAGA base jumping ship because of this illegal war. I mean, did they jump ship when he was twice impeached? Did they jump ship when he caused an insurrection on the Capitol? Did they jump ship when he was a 34-time felon? Did they jump ship when he was a convicted sexual predator? Did they jump ship when he refused to release the Epstein files, basically admitting that he's a pedophile?
Some of them are pretty critical of him. Some of them are pretty critical of him on that one.
I have a hard time believing that anybody's going to jump ship because of this war in a country that they don't even see. The MAGA base isn't bright. Let's be honest here.
Okay. Without insulting the intelligence of millions and millions of people, I don't think that's necessarily a legitimate argument. I'm just asking, do you think it will hurt him politically? You don't think so? You think they're too loyal?
I think the last caller was pretty right. Trump said it himself. He could shoot somebody in the middle of downtown New York and his fan base would still, follow him. He said it himself. I love the poorly educated. These are people who aren't politically astute, because you can't be politically astute and follow a guy who committed all those things that I just said. Period.
Okay. All right. What about any role for Canada in the Strait of Hormuz? What's your opinion on that? Do you see any role there? There's some kind of international effort.
I tend to think we shouldn't get involved. This is the guy that was just threatening the sovereignty of our own nation. He had the nerve to call our prime minister governor. He basically said we were of no use to him anymore. Why would we support him in a war that he started illegally?
All right. But what if other nations there say we need help? UAE, Qatar, Kuwait. What about those countries?
I would help other nations, but I wouldn't lend a single life or military person to help the United States at this point.
Fair enough. Thank you. Back right after the latest breaking news here on News Radio.
Have something on your mind you want everyone to know?
Call now.
Hello.
1-833-668-2577.
It's Talkback on Now You Know with Rob Snow.
And 2 questions for Talkback today. Support or oppose Canada being part of some sort of international effort to secure the Strait of Hormuz? We were asking that yesterday as well, just picking up where we left off. And could this decision by Trump to launch this war hurt him and MAGA, the MAGA Republicans? Could it hurt them politically? Of course, this is the midterm year in the United States. 1-833-668-2577. Steve is in Calgary. Steve. Hi there, Steve. You with me?
Oh, hi. Have you got me this time?
I do indeed,
Hello?
Steve. Thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Hey, you bet. My pleasure. Yeah, well, a lot of your callers are down on President Trump today, but he's living like a rock star down there. He freed 100 million people in Iran to freedom. He's lifted 100 million people in Iran to freedom. Girls being slaughtered and killed. They don't worry about that tonight. And he's about to free millions of people in Cuba. He's Mr. Freedom around the world. And the Democrat Congress, for polls, they're in the basement. People don't care about transgenders in soccer. They don't want no ID for voting. All that stuff, and all that stuff. It's all bad. And Trump is doing great. This war was started 47 years ago by Iran, and President Trump is the one that's going to end this war. So don't count Mr. Trump out. He's not going anywhere. And now for the Strait of Hormuz.
I'm not counting him out. I'm just wondering. I'm looking at these polls just on support for this war, sir. And most Americans oppose this decision to go to war. And I just wonder if this hurts the Republicans politically because this is taken over as the major issue now. I mean,
well, the polls.
What do you think?
The polls are like the piper. Whoever pays the piper calls the tune. Look at who paid for that poll. They got the result they wanted. Just look at whoever hires polling firms. They get the result they want. So
okay, but even Fox, let's say Fox pays for a poll. Okay, Fox pays for a poll. Yeah. It's very pro-Republican, very pro-Trump. Pardon me. Do you support the decision to go to war? It's 50-50, even at Fox News. 50-50.
Right. And so I think if he gets the whole trick is if he gets out of there quick, everybody's happy. And the way that Canada can help the most is by stopping importing oil from the east and leave it available for others and start refining Alberta oil over in those Irving refineries in Nova Scotia. And for help in the Hormuz Strait there, India should be the ones keeping that strait open. They need that oil. They got lots of people over there. They can populate those shorelines and keep her nice and safe. And Canada can provide equipment to a neighboring country.
Just on the situation with Atlantic Canada and oil, you would find a lot of support for that, I think, in Atlantic Canada. Steve, thank you. You've made your position clear. Got to move along though to Joe in Kitchener. Thank you, Joe, for calling. You're on the air, Joe.
Hey, Rob. Yeah, honestly, I'm not sure what our one ship is going to do or the one working submarine. Do we have an anti-mining vessel? Not sure if we have that.
Don't.
That'd probably be useful.
No, we don't.
No. Well, okay. Then, we can send our one ship over there and try and help out, open up the Strait of Hormuz. I think Carney owes it to the citizens to expedite oil flow through the Strait of Hormuz, if nothing else. I mean, take the emotion out of it. We are where we are. All the ego and the pride aside, the guy, we need help to get oil prices under control. So let's send what we got over there and help out as a NATO ally. And I don't care about all this crap with Trump in the 51st state. Get over it, okay? We are where we are. We should have bombed Iran 50 years ago. And why does everybody keep saying, Iran wasn't a threat? Are you serious? Are you freaking serious? Okay,
Well, the question is, was it an imminent threat? Was it an imminent threat? They say it was an imminent threat. That's what they've used to justify the start of the war.
I mean, how much what do you need to declassify to figure out they are imminent threat for decades? I mean, they'll take any opportunity they can to take out as many Americans as they can. The Iranian regime, Israelis, Westerners, they don't really care. They just want to wipe us all off the map and turn it into Sharia law. That's what they want. So, as far as the MAGA thing goes, I'll believe it when I see it. Teflon Don, that's what his name should be. I'll believe it when I see it if he actually affects his
hurts him.
Numbers. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Hamid in Halifax. Hamid.
Hey, Rob, how are you doing?
Yeah, very good. What's your opinion?
Well, Rob, just quickly, I just wanted to mention that Iranian Canadian. I lived in Iran for 22 years before moving to Nova Scotia. I've been living here for 15 years now. So I have a good idea like what's happening in Iran. I have a really good understanding of our
all right. Well, given that's the case, Hamid, if you'll be so kind as to be patient for a few minutes, because I want to take some time and ask you specifically some questions, because you would have a depth of knowledge that I don't, or many of the listeners don't have. So please just hang on the line, 3-4 minutes. We'll be right back at you. Okay? Talkback on News Radio.
Have something on your mind you want everyone to know?
Call now.
Hello.
1-833-668-2577.
It's Talkback on Now You Know with Rob Snow.
Let's get back to Hamid in Halifax, Iranian Canadian. And go ahead, Hamid, with your thoughts. Yeah. Thank you for being patient. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think, like, I agree that some of your colleagues, especially the last two, they sound like kind of maybe extreme in a way that they're saying this is a good war and all that. Like, oh, it is good that it started and Trump did a great thing. Now, my point of view from my opinion from like majority, not all Iranians living in Iran, my families, my friends, all living there. This is what had to be done. Like you guys, I don't know how I can explain like how we were hopeful for this war to happen, especially since January. Like when January 8th and 9th, we had protests in Iran, and then in only 2 days, like they killed 40,000 people. You cannot imagine, or probably you saw all the videos and clips and photos that I saw from those 2 days. I lost friends. This regime, I only, I've been living this in Iran. I was born right after Iran-Iraq war. This regime, they are psychomaniacs. Like these people have no morals. Like this, and if just put yourself in my place, if your government threatening two countries, down with USA, down with Israel for 47 years, and if they're always funding proxies in the region to bomb and throw like rockets and missiles at your country, at some point you want to do something about it. And when you think that, oh, maybe, or actually they feel like they're trying to reach and gain nuclear weapons, when you see they have like 60% enriched uranium, when they have undisclosed enrichment sites in Iran that IAEA had no idea about them, you're like, okay, they don't have it yet, but I feel they will have it pretty soon. So that negotiation that happened during Obama government in 2016, I was young and I was hopeful, and I thought, okay, something's going to happen. It is best for our country. Now I think that was the worst thing that happened. Like I have a lot of bad things to say about Trump and its administration, this one and the previous one. A lot of things to say, bad things to say about Netanyahu and whatever's happening in about that country. But I'm just focusing on what matters to my people. And I think I really have to appreciate that they have the guts Like finally, a United States president had the guts to do what had to be done. This is, and I know and I understand, and it also hurts, affects my life to have 10, 20 cents on the gas and then price going up, everything. I get it.
Yes.
But
yes.
this is not for us. This is not a war. This is a hostage rescue mission, and it's supposed to give freedom back to 100 million people after almost half a century. I think they deserve it. And we had this inflation and everything for different reasons. We had this through COVID. We have depression, a lot of things. And yeah. So
but you're
I
happy that it's happened. You're happy that it's happened, and you're hopeful for the future. Okay, Hamid, very good. Thank you. Let's go to Sarah, is in Halifax. Hello, Sarah.
Hi.
Hi, Sarah.
Thank you so much for taking my call. Sorry, my name is Sona. It's not Sarah. It's okay.
Okay, sorry about that. My apologies.
Oh, no worries at all. I'm Persian as well. I'm Canadian Persian, and I really appreciate that this conversation came up. And to Hamid's point that was talking previously, this Iranian government is not a government. They're a mob. They've been in Iran for 47 years, threatening people, hurting women. I can't even speak right now when I think about it. I'm so sorry. I'm so emotional.
That's okay.
This is a rescue mission that people in the West have no idea what they have done in the past 47 years, torturing women, girls, killing people. Whoever speaks of freedom, they're jailing, they're killing them, they're torturing them. It's beyond people's imagination. Just in the past 40 days, people came to the street to protest, and what they got was bullets. They imported militias from outside of Iran, from Lebanon, Hezbollah, from Afghanistan, from Taliban. They brought everyone in the country to kill people, and they were getting paid to kill people. And they were chasing wounded people into the hospital, shot them in the head to be able to get paid for the dead bodies. That's how brutal they were. And I think the world owes to Netanyahu and Trump to get rid of this government. And to be honest with you, the threat was so much closer than anyone in the West can ever imagine. It would have been too late if, already it's too late. That's why it takes so long, because this government had 47 years of oil money and all the other money laundry that they get and they could get their hands on to build a mob, to build I don't even know how depth the corruption and the crazy things that they're doing, how deep it is, and it's so hard to get it now.
So when Donald Trump says we want help to clean up and secure the Strait of Hormuz, he gets rebuffed by other allies, including, so far Canada. What do you think about that? What do you think about that?
I think Canada should help Donald Trump to get rid of this mob regime, and it'll be so much better in the long term.
Okay. And look, we've got to end our conversation there. I appreciate your call. I know it was emotional for you, but interesting insights nonetheless. This is Talkback on News Radio.
Have something on your mind you want everyone to know?
Call now.
Hello.
1-833-668-2577.
It's Talkback on Now You Know with Rob Snow.
So we're asking about potential support or opposition to some sort of international mission to secure the Strait of Hormuz. It's not coming together so far, but you never know. And this decision to go to war against Iran, is that going to hurt Donald Trump politically and his MAGA movement? What do you think? Let's go to Emerson, is in Calgary. Hello, Emerson.
Hi, Rob. Thanks for taking my call. I just want to say, Rob, the other night I watched the movie Not Without My Daughter with Sally Field in it, and it scared the living jeepers out of me. I couldn't sleep. Just the way that those people act, they're like animals over there. And I really think, as much as I don't approve of Trump half the time, I think people should get behind him, rally behind him. Let's clean it up. Let's clean it up once and for all. Give these people back their life. I mean, the way that they control people and like degrade women and just treat them like they're minced meat. No, I'm all for it. I hope that Canada will finally step up and rally the troops. Let's clean it up. This is our opportunity. 47 years. I think it's a lot more than that. But let me just tell you one thing. I hope it gets done, and it gets done right this time, because that movie opened up my eyes. Not Without My Daughter. When you see that, you'll never, ever in a million years think those people are normal. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much.
All right. I'm trying to focus the conversation here on a couple of things. They're not ruling it out at the senior levels of the government that there could be some sort of international mission around security in the Strait of Hormuz. When you listen very closely to the Minister of National Defense, he's talked for 2 days in a row now. That's what I'm kind of keying in on here. Not necessarily this idea that we're going to see the Canadian forces in combat operations alongside American and Israeli forces. I mean, they ruled that out. They said we were notified that this was going to happen. We're not part of it now, and we're never going to be part of it on the combat side. But at the same time, when they are asked about, well, what if Gulf regions are asking for help, they're talking as though, well, we're talking about that, and we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And at the same time, you have Trump, who's just railed against NATO for 2 days straight, saying they haven't rebuffed our calls. This is a real test for the alliance. I've always questioned. He says things like, I've always questioned whether they would be there for us, and they're not there for us now, and it's terrible. This is what I'm focused on right now for today. So let's try and keep it there. And Donald Trump, and whether you think this decision to go to war is going to hurt him politically. There's already division within his own base, within his MAGA movement. But is this the thing that upends Trump? This decision to launch a war against Iran? Let's pick things up in hour number 2 of Talkback right after the news. 1-833-668-2577. We'll bring you up to date. Let you hear again from Trump, as well what Canadian officials are saying, and then have your say on Talkback today on News Radio.
It's time to talk back
On Now You Know with Rob Snow.
Call now
And have your say.
1-833-668-2577.
Welcome to hour number 2 of Talkback. All of our phone lines are available. And yeah, the 1-833 line is working today. 1-833-668-2577. We're having some problems with that yesterday. They've been resolved. But we're picking up on a conversation that we had yesterday, whether you support or oppose Canada being part of any kind of international mission in the Strait of Hormuz. Just where do you stand on that? Not combat operations. There's been polling that indicates Canadians are overwhelmingly opposed to that. But what about this? Some kind of operation along with like-minded countries to do something about the situation in the Strait of Hormuz. What do you think about that? And then U.S. politics, and what's your sense of things? What's your gut telling you? Here in this midterm year in the United States, is there going to be a price to pay for Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans because they've launched this war? Does that hurt him politically? Does it sink Trump and the MAGA movement? What do you think? He's survived a lot of things, hard to write off, but what's your sense of things here? Now let's listen again, and let's listen closely to what the Minister of National Defense has been saying about this war and any potential role for Canada. So David McGuinty is the Minister of National Defense. He's been the one taking most of the questions on behalf of the government on this issue because the Prime Minister is having a little holiday after his trips to Norway and the UK and after a very busy year. Prime Minister Carney hasn't taken any questions from the news media in I don't know how many days. So it has been up to this cabinet minister, David McGuinty, to explain the Canadian position. So let's listen again to what that is. Let's play Politics 4 here.
Canada was not consulted before this conflict began. Canada has not participated in this conflict, and Canada has no intention of doing so. Clearly, beyond that, the Prime Minister was also clear yesterday in indicating it is time now for basically an opportunity to pursue dialogue and to look for hopefully a cessation of the hostilities. We have members of the CAF in the region. They are not involved in the prosecution of this war. I am not in a position to reveal any more information than that for security reasons. It's very important that we, first of all, focus on Canadians in the region who want to leave that region. And secondly, it's very important for me as Minister of Defence to make sure that we protect, that we keep our forces out of harm's way. They are not engaged in the prosecution of this war.
David McGuinty. So we're not part of it. We're given a heads up that this was going to happen. And we're not going to be part of any combat action in this war. It's not our war. We're not going to be part of it. He is saying our top priorities are getting Canadians who are in that region, who want to get out of that region, making sure we can help them do that. And second, he said we want to make sure our Canadian forces in the region are out of harm's way. But then later during the same news conference, he says curious things like, we'll see, when he's asked about what's happening in the Strait of Hormuz, the U.S. president's request that allies come to the aid of the United States in helping secure the Strait of Hormuz and potentially helping countries in the Gulf region. So let's listen to that with Politics 5, please.
In terms of Canada's position, we've looked at this very carefully. We're following it hour by hour. It's a very volatile situation. And so we're very, very careful in terms of taking steps in any direction. But for us from the beginning, it was clear that joining this in terms of the prosecution of the war offensively was not going to occur. And I said yesterday as well that if any neighboring states might require assistance, we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. If any neighboring states might require assistance, we'll see. Now, neighbors, I suppose that could mean a lot of things. In that part of the world, neighbors could mean Kuwait, could mean the UAE. The Prime Minister was swinging a deal with the UAE back in November. Neighbors, maybe it means Qatar. The Prime Minister was just in Qatar in January announcing a deal. Maybe that's what he means. Neighbors also mean the United States. The leader of that country wants other countries to step in and help cleaning up the mess that is the Strait of Hormuz. The Minister of National Defense is saying when it comes to neighbors helping neighbors, we'll see. We'll see. So what do you think? What would you like to see? Steer clear, stay out of it altogether, don't go anywhere near it. Or if there's a request from neighbors and there's some kind of agreement among like-minded countries, I don't know, France, the UK, Germany, whatever. What if we're part of some sort of international effort to get things moving in that area again? 1-833-668-2577. Hamid in Calgary. Hamid.
Hello, sir.
Yes, hello. What's your opinion?
My opinion is I think Canada is so far, it is safe from the war and it is a total loss. And I think that America is not going to win it because there is all type of downplay, and so far there is no hope that the prices and the other factor of the war we are getting any benefit. The regime is not changed there, but I think the American midterm election maybe partial regime change come in USA rather than Iran, because I think the popularity of the ruling party is going down very fast. What's your opinion?
When you mean a total loss, what do you mean? You said it's a total loss. What do you mean by that?
nobody is getting any benefit, but it's a total loss of losing a lot of oil refineries and other type of businesses like air traveling and sort of everything is affected, right? When the gas price will go up, all the prices will go up, especially in Canada.
Sure. But do you mean that the war in Iran is a total loss for the United States? So nothing is going to happen there? Is that what you mean?
Apparently, it looks like, it looks like. You cannot predict the future, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. All right. Thank you. You've got us off and running. Hour number 2 of Talkback. Lots of lines available there. Love to hear from you. Share your opinion, please. Donald Trump took a lot of questions yesterday in the Oval Office. Let you hear some of what he had to say about NATO. Not a happy man. This is News Radio.
Have something on your mind you want everyone to know?
Call now.
Hello.
1-833-668-2577.
It's Talkback on Now You Know with Rob Snow.
Dawn in Waterloo up next on Talkback. Hi, Dawn.
Hey, Rob. You're asking about should we or shouldn't we help clear up the deal in the Strait.
Yes.
And I just had an idea. Since Trump likes transactions and since he is the problem, how about this? 1, he resigns. 2, he appears in court to face all the charges that have been laid against him. If he does those 2 simple things, we're all in. We'll come and fix the whole problem. Well, at least we'll do our best.
Okay.
Do you think he'd go for that?
What charges are you? What charges are you talking about?
Just tax evasion and assaulting young ladies and whatever,
Okay, well, there's already been court cases about that, but to borrow a phrase from Prime Minister Carney, let's deal with the world we're in and not as we wish it to be. So on this, you're a no.
Good point. I get that, but somebody's got to tell this guy. He is the problem.
Okay, he's the problem.
Anyway,
fair enough.
We all know he started it. He started it.
Okay.
Can't expect
Do
help.
you think, because it's kind of a two-parter today, do you think it will hurt him politically? And the MAGA Republicans, do you think in the midterms it'll hurt them, this war?
I wondered about that, and I've been hearing some Republicans say that we're in big trouble. However, the Americans voted for him twice. So I guess I'm not holding my breath. But it would be nice. That would be the world we'd like to see, that they would get their due reward, for what.
So you'd like to see it, but you have your doubts. All right. Very good, Don. Thank you. Sean is in Cambridge today. Hello, Sean. Up next on Talkback.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Sean.
Hi.
Yep, good to hear from you.
I don't think we should get involved. They made the mess and clean it up. And I don't think you can impose change on a society from without. I mean, you look what happened in Afghanistan. The Taliban are still there. Iraq is slowly drifting back. I don't think it'll make a difference. I mean, I apologize to that person who felt so badly she burst into tears, but it takes 10 to 20 years to change a society at least, and I don't see the Americans staying the course. So I don't think there's any use in us getting involved at all. And as for the Trump's base, his hardcore people don't believe anything he does is wrong. They literally see him as the second coming. I mean, the people that are on the fringes probably won't vote for him again, but his hardcore, it's a cult. They're still going to vote for him no matter what.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Sean. Let's listen to a little bit of Donald Trump. He took some questions yesterday in the Oval Office. It was St. Patrick's Day. He was hosting the leader of Ireland. He was asked about Iran. He was asked about consequences for NATO for not answering his calls to help out in the Strait of Hormuz. This is a longer clip from that question and answer session yesterday. Let's play that.
President, NATO for not supporting you on this. Any repercussions? Well, no, I just think that it's not good for a partnership when they say what you're doing is a great thing, but we're not going to help. You know, they say what you did is a great thing, but we're not going to help.
Mr. President, in Iran, because the Iranian regime has told Sky News, if you put boots on the ground in Iran, it will be another Vietnam. Are you afraid of that?
No, I'm not afraid of. I'm really not afraid of anything.
Mr. President, are you rethinking the United States' relationship with NATO possibly getting out?
Well, I'm disappointed in NATO that we spend trillions of dollars on NATO. Think of it, trillions over the years, many trillions of dollars. It's one of the reasons we have deficits and we help other countries. And when they don't help us, I mean, it's certainly something that we should think about. I don't need Congress for that decision. As you probably know, I can make that decision myself. I'd work with some very smart people. And I'd always deal with Congress anyway, but I don't need Congress for that decision. But, you know, when you say rethink, I have nothing currently in mind, but I will say that I'm not exactly thrilled when we help them with Ukraine. Look, Ukraine would have been over in one day if we didn't help. Frankly, Ukraine would have been over in the first day. They had the best equipment in the world. It was our equipment given by Sleepy Joe Biden. No charge, no charge. Hundreds of billions of dollars of the best equipment in the world, no charge. I will say that I'm not happy about it.
I'm not happy about it. So one little moment there is kind of crazy. He says, I'm not afraid about this war becoming another Vietnam. Are you afraid it's going to become another Vietnam? I'm not afraid of anything, he says. Gosh, like Vietnam, like 20-year war. He sounds very disappointed, though. Well, he says, I'm not happy about it, that so far nobody's answered his call for help in the Strait of Hormuz. He says he's not thinking of pulling the United States out of NATO or anything like that. He says he feels let down by NATO. It's not helping out in trying to clean up this mess. But, you know, back to the original question, what should Canada be doing then? This government has certainly ruled out getting involved in any combat operations, but what about this Strait of Hormuz, securing that passage and a political price to pay for Trump? Your opinion on that? 1-833-668-2577. It's Talkback. I'm Rob Snow. This is News Radio.
Have something on your mind you want everyone to know?
Call now.
Hello.
1-833-668-2577.
It's Talkback on Now You Know with Rob Snow.
Let's go to Grant is in Calgary today. Get his opinion on this very troubled world of ours. Hello, Grant.
Hello.
Yeah. Hi, Grant. What's your opinion, please?
Well, I don't think they should have went in there in the first place. Like, their counterintelligence head guy there, he just resigned because he said there was no imminent threat. He just created a mess. Look what he's done to the price of fuel. NATO, he never officially asked NATO to get in there and help. Well, and look what's happened in the past. I mean, they don't seem to learn their lesson. It's another quagmire. He's not afraid of anything. Well, I just read this morning that if he pulls out of NATO, the Republican Party will probably implode. So he's just created a whole bunch of trouble for nothing.
Okay. So when it comes to this Strait of Hormuz situation, do you see any role for Canada there at all?
I can see it if there's, things calm down and there's less danger. I mean, I could see them escorting some ships, but I don't see that until something, things calm down a bit. I mean, we don't want to put our guys in danger just because it's something they created without asking for help prior or letting anybody know prior to what they were going to do. It's all the U.S. and Israel's doing, so it doesn't have anything to do with anybody else.
Fair enough. Do you think it will hurt Trump and MAGA? Do you think it'll hurt Trump and MAGA? What do you think?
I think so. I think people are getting tired of his going back and all the promises he made. He's, like I read last night, he's gaslighting the American people. You know, prices aren't going down. Prices are going up every day. He's not helping them. The rich are getting the richer and the poor are getting poorer. There's no doubt about it.
All right. Thank you. Grant in Calgary. Hassan in Calgary as well today. Hassan.
Hi.
Yeah, hi, Hassan. Yeah, good to hear from you. What's your opinion?
My opinion is twofold. I'll tell you from my own background. We came from a very immigrant family, and the country we came from, we have a similar situation going on. We had to leave that place because the government is terrible. But in no way ever would I ever wish that, hey, go America, go and attack my country, and it's basically Pakistan. The type of Muslim I am, they just like to slaughter you and everything. But in no way ever would I ever want America or Canada to go and attack them. But what I would want is have extremely diplomatic relations in which it's just through conversation, they can actually change their mind. And that's my first opinion. So that's in the light of the Iranian callers that called and said that, hey, we should attack them. Like, come on. I don't want any Canadian or any American to be getting hurt in this war that does not need to be, that is not required. Why I say that is that I'm a geologist, and I just came back from Saskatchewan drilling 15 wells that we have in over the last 3 months. And I can assure you again and again that we have tremendous amount of oil. Like, we have the best oil, one of the best oils that is available in the world. And we have all this fear mongering occurring, and they want us to get pulled into the war. There is no way, a normal person should never be saying that, hey, we should go and attack this country. Have a conversation.
Okay. Gotcha. Thank you.
Have something on your mind you want everyone to know?
Call now.
Hello.
1-833-668-2577.
It's Talkback on Now You Know with Rob Snow.
Yes, it is. It's a two-parter today, following up on a conversation we had yesterday. And still no consensus on this. Support or oppose Canada being part of some sort of international effort to secure the Strait of Hormuz. You feel free to comment on that, please. At 1-833-668-2577. And just politically, whether the decision by Trump to launch this war against Iran could hurt him politically. Could this sink Trump and the MAGA movement in a midterm election year? I know many of you are following U.S. politics. Hard to avoid these days with the news cycle being what it is. Offer an opinion on that, please. There's really no wrong opinion when it comes to that. I'd love to know yours. Let's go to Thomas, Longview, Alberta. Hello, Thomas. Hi, Thomas. Are you with me?
Yeah, I say hello. How are you?
Yes, I'm good, Thomas. How are you?
I'm fine. Well, I think everybody's forgetting one small thing. Donald Trump actually did this to distract from the real case, which is the Epstein files. I think he's got himself in a lot of hot water without actually talking to all his allies what he's got left for allies, before he invaded. So, as far as I'm concerned, no, he doesn't deserve any help. He kind of brought it on himself. Unfortunately, I feel sorry for all the other countries over there that are suffering the wrath. But as far as us sending anybody there, I don't know. It's a 51st state? No, afraid not. Does it affect them? Of course it's going to affect them. Definitely going to affect his midterms. He's already in hot water there, well underwater. So that's my opinion anyways, Bob. Thank you for hearing.
Okay. Yeah, Thomas, just before you run, though, what about, doing something? What if getting traffic moving again through that area, that key shipping route, does something to alleviate these, the high oil prices, the high gas prices, fertilizer costs are way up, which is going to increase the price of food as well. What if some sort of effort to improve the situation there could ease some of these economic pressures?
Don't you think, Rob, by now this would be a wake-up for Canada? Don't you think processing it right here and supplying us nonsense that we keep going through. We went through this in 74 as well. And, you know, we didn't wake up then, and now we definitely should wake up. We find our own oil here, control our own prices, and export the excess. It's that simple. This is foolishness. And you can do what you want with that one, but it's time to wake up, I think.
Understood. Yeah. Never let a crisis go to waste, I guess. And, you know, the message being we need to build a more resilient Canada. I understand, sir, where you're coming from. Now, look, in Washington today, it's a very big day because you have high-ranking members of the Trump administration on the hot seat today. They're testifying at various congressional committees. And the decision to go to war with Iran is surely coming up. For example, you have the United States Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, facing U.S. senators in a hearing right now. It's happening on worldwide threats is supposed to be the theme of this. And in advance of her appearance at this committee, she posted on social media last night that it's up to the President of the United States to determine what is and what isn't an imminent threat. And she posted that in response to the resignation of this guy, Joe Kent, the head of U.S. counterintelligence, who has quite a background himself in extreme right-wing American circles. He resigned yesterday and said Iran posed no threat to the United States and that the United States was pressured into the war by Israel. So as you can imagine, for the Democrats, I mean, it's kind of an all-you-can-eat buffet right now with all of these things going on. And they have been having weekly briefings, almost daily briefings with the news media. So you have Democrats like Pete Aguilar. He's a member of the House from California. And he said, like, this war is on this president. He owns this war. Let's play Washington 1, please.
No, I think that this is the president has made this action unilaterally. He has not asked for the world to buy into this. He has not asked for Congress to buy into this. So he owns all of it. But look, the impeachment piece is a distraction that nobody is talking about here with respect to Iran. What we've asked for is the president to come to Congress to show us a plan. What is your plan? What is your strategy? How do we get out of this? We're in week 3. The president said we already won. Mike Johnson's saying we're winning. It's almost done, right? Like it seems like they're always a few hours away from hanging the next mission accomplished sign around here, and we continue to suffer. And now we're going to be stuck with the bill.
And then he would go on to say, he was asked about the resignation of Joe Kent, counterintelligence chief Joe Kent. And he said, well, when a guy like Joe Kent resigns, that should tell you something, first of all, about how the war is going, and it should make you question Trump's entire agenda. Play the second clip, please.
And when extremists like Joe Kent say, I'm out of here, this administration isn't doing what they said they were going to do, I think it's incredibly telling. Look, the important thing, this isn't about, who can we reach out to and we're Republican support a Democrat. No, this is about the president's words, and people have believed him. Many people in the public who are, purple voters, they vote red, they vote blue, they believe the president when he said he would lower the costs on day one. They believe the president when he said he would cut your utility bill in half within a year. They believed him when he said he didn't want to make investments in foreign wars or to get America in more conflicts. They believed him. This is someone who just can't be believed.
So that's how the Democrats see it. And then you have at another committee, you have Markwayne Mullin, the Oklahoma senator. He's Trump's pick to head up the U.S. Department of Homeland Security following the ouster downfall flameout of Kristi Noem. So big day in Washington with all of this swirling in the background. 1-833-668-2577. This is News Radio.
Have something on your mind you want everyone to know?
Call now.
Hello.
1-833-668-2577.
It's Talkback on Now You Know with Rob Snow.
So again, we've been measuring support today or opposition to Canada becoming involved just in some kind of international mission to secure the Strait of Hormuz. No consensus there so far today. And whether you think this action against Iran, Donald Trump launching this war against Iran, hurts him and MAGA politically in the midterm election year. Gathering your thoughts on that angle to it as well. Gordon is up next, east of Calgary. Hello, Gordon. You're on the air.
How you doing?
Yeah, very good, Gordon. What's your opinion here?
Okay. Trump walked in there by himself. It's his bed. He better sleep in it. I don't think we should be rolling in there and helping him. We don't need another. He's looking for another Afghanistan and Vietnam. And whenever there's a war, the military machine that makes all that stuff makes the money. Price of oil goes up. His buddies make good money. And then all of a sudden it'll drop and they're out of it. They're all right. And as far as I'm concerned, it couldn't happen to a nicer guy if he gets booted out. But when you're talking about
what do you think? I mean, usually in the midterm elections in the United States, it's not out of the ordinary that, say, the ruling party would lose support because it would be seen kind of like in the Canadian circumstance with a by-election, can be seen as kind of a protest vote, so that wouldn't be unusual. What I want to get at is, could there be broader ramifications for Trump and MAGA? Because, this idea of staying out of forever wars, right, is like one of the core things of MAGA. And I just wonder if this damages that beyond repair. What do you think?
I think it is. I don't know if he's done a whole bunch for the States. I'm involved in agriculture, and the price of fuel is hurting those guys. And even if the price of oil does come down, it's going to only affect the oil, the diesel and stuff like that. When you're talking fertilizer, it's not going to help a doggone bit because the fertilizer companies are making money. It's already been made, and they're just going to charge extra. And unfortunately, the price of fertilizer dropping won't affect the food prices at all because, unfortunately, farmers are price takers. We cannot dictate the price of fertilizer. Saying, okay, we're not going to buy as much. Well, they don't care. They've already sold it. And same with chemicals. That's all oil-based. And we can't say, come on, we can't pass our costs on. We're price takers. We can't pass the cost of increased costs on to anybody.
Right. All right. Very interesting. And then not encouraging at all. I thank you, Gordon, for your call. Al is up next on line 2. Hello, Al.
Hi.
Hi, Al. What's your opinion, please?
Just wanted to comment on the fact that you didn't parrot the Liberal minister that stood up and said the reason the price of housing has gone through the roof here in Canada is on account of the war. Last time I checked, fuel prices were up, potash was up, fertilizers were up, as were house prices. And all it takes is for one of those tankers coming out of the Middle East that's supposed to be headed for Quebec, Montreal there. All it takes is one bullet over the hull, and Canada will recommission the submarines from Western Mall and then join the fray. What people are forgetting is that Turkey and Cyprus have also been hit. And last time I checked, they were part of the NATO. So why wouldn't the Canadians send the people from their armed forces from Latvia into the Middle East?
Okay. Well, what do you think of if that? Let's say that happened. What would you think if that happened?
In Alberta, we're jumping for joy. That $9 billion deficit that the Premier announced is going to have to be revisited. There'll be lots of jobs here. There'll be lots of affordable housing. And hey, if you guys from down east or Vancouver, Toronto, Halifax, you guys want to come to Calgary, come to Edmonton. Lots of work, lots of affordable housing, and please don't vote for Nimshi. Thank you for taking my call.
Well, yeah, all right, yeah, a little bit of outside of the discussion today, but I appreciate the call nonetheless. Be right back. This is News Radio.
Have something on your mind you want everyone to know?
Call now.
Hello.
1-833-668-2577.
It's Talkback on Now You Know with Rob Snow.
The second question that we've been discussing for Talkback today is, what impact do you think this decision by Trump to launch this war would have on his political future, the future of the MAGA movement? I mean, it is a midterm election year. Big elections, right? Coming up. Wars have a way of souring the American public on the opinion of their presidents. That has certainly happened in the past. There can be this initial surge of approval, this kind of rally around the flag kind of thing. We haven't seen anything like that in the last 19 days. And that surge so often has proven to be a temporary phenomena. I mean, LBJ won a big elections in 64, but then he went on to escalate American involvement in Vietnam, and that took over his agenda and whatever gains he was hoping to make from his bid to build the Great Society. And I mean, 4 years later, he eventually decided that he wouldn't even seek his party's nomination for re-election in 1968. And along came Nixon, and he was promising peace with honor in Vietnam. And remember, he won a huge re-election victory, but he was done in by Watergate, which really had its root in the Pentagon Papers, which was all about Vietnam, because Nixon wanted to stop the leaks. So he hired the plumbers to do a series of break-ins. It wasn't just a break-in into the Watergate building. Remember, they broke into the psychiatrist's office of Daniel Ellsberg, who leaked the Pentagon Papers to try and get dirt on him and discredit him. Bush Sr., back in 1991, had a massive spike in public support following the decision to launch the Gulf War. But he was overtaken by a recession, and he ended up being a one-term president. There had also been 12 years of Republicans in the White House by that time, but it shows you, I mean, how fleeting support for a war and a wartime president can be. Bush Jr. had some of the highest approval ratings ever recorded by Gallup right after 9/11. And then all of that was really squandered, and so was a lot of blood and treasure because of his decision to invade Iraq over the dubious claims about weapons of mass destruction, WMD, in Iraq. And I mean, right now, the polling that's coming out isn't showing any sort of big jump in support for President Trump or the Republicans. In the initial weeks of this war, there was a poll out just the other day. I don't know how reliable the firm is that did this poll, but it said more than half of those polled said Trump only started the war to distract from the Epstein files, which some callers brought up today. And more than 80% of Democrats think this war is a distraction effort away from the Epstein files. And there have been a whole series of other polls suggesting the majority of Americans oppose the decision to go to war in the first place. PBS News, NPR, Marist poll, 56% oppose, 44% support. Ipsos, 58% disapprove, 38% approve. Quinnipiac, only 4 in 10 support the decision to go to war. CNN, 60% of Americans disapprove. And even a Fox poll says Americans are divided 50-50. And that's Fox. So, so far, it's hardly any sort of rally around the flag sort of spike in popular support for Trump and his party. And that's the starting point. Let alone what it's done to gas prices and the cost of living and what it could do to inflation and the overall health of the economy. Brand new topic tomorrow. And more of your phone calls. And until then, always the latest breaking news. Thank you, everyone, for today. I'm Rob Snow. This has been Talkback, and this is News Radio.